guys, nice little Saturday morning here, and I was working on this, what was I working on? I was working on my May recap, just reviewing the trades specific to the challenge account, the $25,000 challenge account. Oh, okay, I'm back. I thought it was closer to me. So I went through actually a whole one of these every day. I basically write my watch list out here, and then, at the end of the day, I write kind of my main thoughts, my main takeaways, and this was like, I don't know, a good almost 2 months, and I noticed a lot of things in here, a lot of patterns that repeated themselves quite often, and I made kind of a post on Trade Journal about that I want to review with you guys. I also want to go through my statistics a little bit on Trade Journal, and this is just for the $25,000 challenge, which is the one I stream every morning starting at 9:15. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys found some really good takeaways in this. I know for me, it was a bit of a I guess you could say eye-opener. I don't know, we talk about a lot of these things every day, but there's a few patterns that just constantly repeat themselves over and over and over and over again. And it's good to be conscious about those. So let's see if those are actually true for you as well. And definitely, leave any comments below what you guys think. This video is a little bit longer, so maybe watch it on ×2 speed. Just kind of going over a lot of thoughts, and sometimes it's exactly what you need to do. All right, guys, so make yourself a little bit of coffee, hit the like button, consider subscribing if you're new, if you want to learn more about trading, especially growing a small account, and the gap and go morning breakout strategy. And then I'll see you guys on the trading desk in a little bit. And alrighty, so let's get into it very quickly. So this is Trade Journal. This is obviously where I document it all. And for this May recap, obviously, like I said in the beginning, I went through my whole yellow sheet, and this thing has all of my my whole watch list every day, my thoughts at the end of the day. So I went through that, and I made a blog post actually about it, trading plan adjustments after reviewing May. So I reviewed that, and then I also reviewed, so on my stats page, where you can see all my trades. Basically, if I filter this for, let's see here, if I filter this for the 5th, so May, I don't know why I always say June, and then basically again the end of May, so right here, the $25,000 challenge. It was a slow month for me overall. I noticed I kept tripping over myself, and I was making, let me see, yeah, okay, I think this is all right. So I was making constantly the same mistakes, and a big part of that was after, I reviewed all this stuff, and after I was thinking, where am I going wrong? Because why is this such a slow month? Looking back, I know I'm better trader than this. I've been trading for many years, and for some reason, this challenge, I've been tripping over myself so much, and I realized, and if you guys watch my recaps, if you guys watch my streams, you guys know that a big reason for that is just because I'm limited on trades. So I'll go through all these kind of 21 things that I found out very quickly. It's not going to be anything I would say too mind-blowing, but there's a few things that pop up again and again and again, and that's where I find you can make some big adjustments to your trading, and that's why I called it kind of trading plan adjustments. And I've already to go ahead a little bit, there's also some specific examples here, and to go ahead a little bit, here's some adjustments I've already made since then. So just keep this in mind on how I applied these adjustments basically after I reviewed this and figured out what I was going bad. Basically, one of my biggest challenges, one of my biggest challenges is the fact that I'm on this cash account, this $25,000 challenge, I'm limited to the amount of trades. So if you don't know, very quickly, my account right now is about $6,000. We grew it from about $4,000, almost exactly $4,000. And so with $6,000, since it's a cash account, I can only trade the amount of cash in that account per day. And when I trade that amount, I can't use those funds till 48 hours. So if I trade $1,000 on Monday, I don't get those funds again till Wednesday. So what I do, so I can trade every day, is only trade half the account every day. So on Monday, I trade $3,000. On Tuesday, I trade $3,000, and then on Wednesday, I get Monday's cash back. And that's where kind of the problem comes in, because I'm like, I need to get the most out of every trade. And because of that, because of me trying to get the most out of every trade, I constantly trip over myself, because I'm like, let me, hold this backside bounce, which should only be, 3, 4, 5% tops. And I'm already at 4 or 5%. I'm like, okay, well, it's my last trade of the day. Let me hold it a little bit longer. And then boom, before you know it, I close it out for a loss. And that's been my biggest kind of problem with this challenge account. So one thing I've done actually to correct that is just to kind of get in the groove a little bit more, have a little bit more trades. If I'm not 100% sure about a trade, or 90%, because you never, what's 100% sure, right? That's just leading yourself up for, I don't know, holding on a position too long. I go half position size, and this has been working very well for me so far for June. So pre-market, I go half position size. What's my full position size? Right now, about $1,000. And then boom, if I'm not totally feeling it, or maybe it's a backside move, or maybe it's a little bit choppy morning, I'm just gonna go in half position size. And then once we start seeing those really nice breakouts, then I'm gonna get a little bit more aggressive, go full position size, things like that. Setups I feel a little bit more comfortable in. So let's go ahead and review some of these things, and let me know in the comments, guys, whenever like a thought comes to your head, just leave it in the comments below. Pause the video, continue watching, maybe leave another comment. We could just create dialogue here, and that's really what I'm trying to do. And that's what I enjoy so much on the live streams, is this constant like feedback system. So before we actually go through these 20 fun biggest takeaways, let's kind of go through the stats here. So my total winnings last month on this $25,000 challenge wasn't that hot. I mean, it was $256. Woohoo! It's not mind blowing, and this is kind of the actual cool part. My average position size last month was $950. So that means I basically grew my account by 25, I grew my average position size. I made 25% based on my average position size. So once we have an account over $25,000 and we're using an average position size of, let's say, $10,000, it would have been a $2,500 month. Again, not blow away money, but that is enough money, depending on how you live your life, to totally cover your expenses to some extent. I don't know how much you guys spend. I kind of came to the conclusion, if I don't, have any big purchases or anything like that, I can get by with about $70 a day. That would cover rent, that would cover everything, groceries, yada yada. So $2,100. Right, 30 days, $70 a day, 7, 14, 21. So $2,100 a month is basically my cost with insurance, with everything added together. And that's like, living a decent life. Like, I'm going to the grocery store, I'm buying, organic products, I'm doing basically everything I want, but I'm not, splurging too much. So that basically means my trading on my worst month, or not this wasn't my worst month, but this was like my second to worst month. It was a very slow month. That means my trading right now, if I just had unlimited trades and I was trading with $10,000, I would be able to totally live off this challenge alone, which is pretty sweet. That makes me feel pretty good, actually, because I actually know my biggest mistakes were the fact that I didn't have unlimited trades. Now I know there's kind of a backside to that where, okay, if I do have unlimited trades, maybe I start over trading. But I've been in this game for quite some time, and I mean, I don't want to be like it wouldn't happen to me, because everyone makes mistakes. I'm sure when I have an unlimited account, after this challenge goes unlimited, I will make mistakes, and I will have I don't know, I'll overtrade. I even kind of overtraded yesterday. So it's something that I'm not saying won't happen to me. It's just something that I'm pretty conscious about already. So I think wrapping up by 12 o'clock, stuff like that will really help me kind of mitigate any sort of downside risk on having unlimited trades. Because really the big problem is like, these beautiful backside bounces where I could be making 3% on a $10,000 position. I could really, grow account very nicely with that. And that is my bread and butter strategy. And that's what I do with crypto. And that's what I do with a lot of other accounts that I have. So yeah, my average win, 3.7%, not the best. My average loss, 2.49. It's nice that my average win is bigger. You can see my biggest winning trade, almost 12%. My biggest losing trade, 6.6%. Max consecutive, 5. Max losing, 4 consecutive. Very nice here. This is why I'm doing the whole challenge account. 1, to learn a new strategy. And 2, I would never do a small account challenge, probably in the USA with if we had to pay fees, because it would be very, very tough. Those fees would eat you alive. So that's why I was like, oh, this is the perfect time to learn a new challenge. Now, if I did the $25,000 challenge using, let's say, I don't know, anywhere between $500 and $5,000 to start, then I would probably next time go offshore, because the whole being limited on trades thing has been much bigger of a nightmare than I could ever imagine. Overall though, total winners here, you can see 30, total losers 32. So it scratches too. Scratches when there's like no win or loss. So just you go out for 0. This negative profit loss ratio is kind of ridiculous. Like I know that with all my trading kind of combined, I'm like in the 62%. So this is a below average for me. With crypto trading, I had oftentimes I was over like 64%. So this is, and I was kind of doing all the same stuff. It's just, yeah, I keep tripping over myself. And, you know, in the future, you guys are going to be able to check this out on your own time. You can just go to my profile, which is Winkler. And right now, this is actually under work right now. I think it is Winkler. So yeah, here you can see my picture, my accounts, a little bit about me. The quick stats and the portfolios will all show up here. You guys can check out all these trades on your own time. This should be released next month. Right now, it's in the works. So that's pretty cool. Also, another thing in the works with Trade Journal is actually under trades and under stats where you see all your trades. Oh, it's loading a little slow right now. There's going to be a list view. I know that's been requested several times. So you're going to see these trades without the thumbnails. You can I think at one point you might be able to hover over the trade and see the thumbnail, but it's just going to be a list view, kind of like a table. That way you can see more information quicker. So I think that's a good idea. You guys have been getting feedback on. So before we dive into a few of these specific trades down here, and oh, by the way, this URL I'll leave in the video description below, so you guys can just go right to this URL and check this out on your own time. But yeah, let's review these 22 things or 21 things, and then let's go through these trades here to kind of hone in some of these lessons. Yeah, so first thing that I noticed, I was just, I started from the beginning of my notepad. I just, where did it start? And then I just went page by page. What was something that I took away from this page? My watch list I wrote down used to be much less helpful. Now it's very clear. I noticed that when I first started with putting the watch list on paper, I didn't really have a system, and now I have much more of a system, and now it's actually helpful. It's like my cheat sheet. Sometimes I'll be in a trade or about to enter a trade. I'm like, oh yeah, CTIB yesterday, 21 million float, US Auto Parts Company, board of director changes, not the hottest catalyst, but 450% gapping in the market, pre-market. So it's like these quick little stats that I don't have to maybe look around in my trading software to find it. Focus on the original plan, the OG plan. It seems, I see this a lot, but then sometimes, in the recap video, I'm like, boom, this one had a perfect red to green move. This one had a perfect breakout. This one had a nice open range breakout. And these are all things I called out pre-market. So sometimes, placing limit orders at key areas, I'm not the biggest fan of that. Sometimes I like doing it, sometimes I don't. It just, then all of a sudden you get overwhelmed. You're like, oh, I have a limit order over there. You're in a trade and then you get executed on a different trade. It can be a little overwhelming, but, sometimes placing limit orders on key support zones could be a good idea. But ultimately just, sticking to the original plan, like pre-market. If you see some obvious setups, you're not the only one looking at those obvious setups. And if you're not the only one looking at those obvious setups, they're probably pretty good. So just keep in mind for the, stick to your original plan. Once the market opens, it gets hectic, especially on the stream sometimes for me personally, because, I'm answering a comment or answering a question, and then I'm like, oh no, I just missed the setup that I wanted. Give shout outs more in recap videos. Yeah, so this is something I've noticed a lot of you guys will leave a really cool comment or something like that, or give a great suggestion. So I have kind of implemented a bit more shouting out. If you guys have something cool to say or you said something cool, I try to make sure to give you guys a shout out for that. So yeah, leave a cool comment below, and if I implement it or if I think it'll help other people, I'll definitely mention it. When big stocks bounce, small caps sleep. Yeah, this is kind of obvious. A lot of times when the large caps are up a little bit more, the small caps tend to not perform as well because the traders have so much more to trade. There's so much going on. So they're like, okay, I'm going to be focusing on this instead. And sometimes I noticed that, like Hertz, when that one was going crazy, everybody was watching Hertz, even though you could almost consider it a small cap now. To me, small cap under 500 million, but the definition is very vague. But yeah, if there's a lot going on, like with Tesla or Apple, oftentimes the small caps will be a little bit slower. Being shaken out of winning trades seems to be a big issue for me. Yes, that's because, sometimes I'll be trading breakouts later in the day and they tend to perform a little bit slower. And then, I'm in the first gap and go mindset where I'm like, oh, let's go right now. It's got to break out or bail out, which is true, but more so in the first 15 minutes. So I just got to keep in mind, when to be aggressive, when to be a little bit more conservative, when to let a trade take a little bit longer. I've definitely gotten better at that. So that's a good one. Discovered and highlighted the 5-minute breakout, 1-minute pullback. To me, breakouts were always, obviously you have one candle making a new higher high. In the former candle, this is breaking out. Yes, that's always kind of been the case, but I started combining the 5-minute chart a bit more with the 1-minute chart. So if there's like a 5-minute chart that's kind of just chilling, and then we have a big 5-minute breakout, and then we have on the 1-minute chart, a 1-minute pullback, I really like those entries. A key thing about this is just make sure it's above VWAP, tends to perform much, much better. Being a big calmer, yeah. Like I said, on the stream, sometimes it's a lot to focus on different charts and then, questions, then check out this ticker. And then sometimes I get a little overwhelmed. So just, take a step back. It's always a good thing with anything in life. Always be good to be a big calmer. So this day I must have been stressed out. Stick to the strategy. Yeah, you can see I constantly noted this down in my yellow notepad. I had an idea of decreasing trades from 2 to 3, or actually this should say from 3 to 2, as then I could be done earlier trading morning hot movers. In theory, a good idea. In practice, failed miserably as it put more pressure on each trade. Yeah, so the fact that I'm limited on trades made me more nervous when I put more capital into each trade. So I would only have 2 trades because I'm like, this one has to work. So this idea kind of fell off the cliff a little bit. Although I think in the future, when I start trading my margin account on the side after I'm done with the challenge account, I don't think this will actually apply again. So I will retest this once I have capital to trade after the challenge account capital is used up. No clear gap or enter with caution. That was Friday. We were very cautious on Friday because there was no maybe super clear lately gapper, and this definitely worked. I should have just wrapped up trading earlier. Getting aggressive, second green day after runner. Yeah, if it's a second green day, sometimes it's really, really nice. Sometimes they'll have a third, fourth, fifth green day. Oftentimes it's just one big green day. If you guys don't know what this is about, check out, just start joining the streams and it will start making more sense. Making switch from the first 15-minute aggression delay. Yeah, so this is kind of highlighting, where was it? Being shaken out of weak trades. Yeah, this is a little bit similar here. So basically, if like I said, first 15 minutes, you want to be extra aggressive. Things, have these big pullbacks, but then they have huge runs, and then it all happens so fast, and then it starts calming down after the 15 minutes of the market opens. And once it starts calming down, you want to switch a little bit from being, really aggressive in the driver's seat to being a little bit more, okay, well, let's kind of not be overly aggressive. Let's not, buy at the high here because it's going to keep breaking out. Sometimes, it'll take a little bit longer to have a resolution. Not always, but it's good to keep that in mind. Open Discord group for future fallouts. Open Discord group for future fallouts. What's fallout? I think I wrote something wrong here. Discord group. So future, maybe callouts. This could have been callouts, but basically call and C and F are very close on the keyboard. Fallouts. I don't know what that could be. So yeah, I think it's for future callouts. And what this is I do remember the kind of writing this part down. I just don't remember what that part is. So now I open Discord every morning and make sure there's no missed messages. Sometimes I would go a few days or even a week without opening a Discord, which is kind of ridiculous because, there's good questions and a lot of people, joining it. So I should be more attentive, and I've made that kind of a more of a habit now every morning. Clean, and also sometimes after trading, because we have sometimes discussions there after trading. Clean, lead gapper, get aggressive. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty straightforward. If right here, where did I say? No lead gapper, enter with caution, clean lead gapper, get aggressive. I mean, pretty straightforward. 15, adjust when a sector is hot like oil. Trading small cap, gap and go will be weaker. Yeah, I mean, WLL and so many other tickers, just, when oil was hot, I should have been like, okay, what are some of these oil stocks doing? Because, the classic gap and go small caps just weren't as hot. So kind of pivoting a bit more, not being like so stubborn in just trading the small caps. So being like, okay, if this is hot, if this is what everyone's trading, let me, not be biased, let me be open to it, and then, get aggressive. Identifying, I was mixing up strategies. So this was a big one, and you guys heard me talk about this a lot. Where am I going wrong with the why is my profit loss negative? Why am I tripping over myself so much? And this is purely because I was mixing up these kind of dip buy strategies, my support line bounces with the gap and go. So I would be not so aggressive when it was above VWAP, when I should be getting aggressive, and I was more aggressive when it was below VWAP, when I should be less aggressive, because I was mixing up kind of two strategies. It was really stressful. So just being more conscious to like, what are you trading? Why are you trading this? Take a step back, maybe before you enter a trade. Does everything make sense? Just, you know, always know why you're doing something. And if you notice like the whole thing, you're going to see these trades below in a second. Oh, actually, let me just make this a little bit bigger here. I should have done that in the beginning. Sorry about that, guys. Let me go here and just zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I should have done that ahead of time. Now it should be easier for everyone to look at. Let me actually make sure that's true. Oops, this is totally in the way. Okay, yeah, this looks fine. Let me go up a little bit more. Okay, so where was I? Yeah, identifying. I was mixing up strategies. Yeah, this is just the straightforward me buying, you know, moves that just aren't that, you know, like buying the breakouts. You want to start getting aggressive. You want to buy those quick pullbacks. Look at the 9-minute EMA. Is it touching 9-minute EMA? Is it continuing? You know, get aggressive there. Instead, I was waiting for like big dips on a stock that's breaking out higher, which, you know, I was mixing up two strategies. I was buying more, you know, those dips or those, you know, big like red to green moves on something breaking out. Doesn't make sense. So that was a little bit annoying, but I've definitely gotten better at clearing that up. Buy what's hot, buy bull flags. Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. Like sometimes I'll be over fixated on a stock pulling back, and that's like a little ridiculous. Discussing a bit about adjusting aggression. This is that first 15 minutes being aggressive and then being more conservative later on the day. That's what that is. So, you know, these things repeat themselves over and over again. This is just, you know, at the end of the day, putting my thoughts on paper, and then just constantly writing down kind of the highlights per day. Breakout or bailout, more of a thing early on, but always applies to some extent. Yeah, I mean, later in the day, you can maybe give a stock like 3, 4, 5 attempts sometimes to break out, but early morning, like if it tries twice, there's big sellers, you got to get out. So this has definitely been very good. You just kind of have to know how to adjust it a little bit. Generating conviction. This is like a whole topic in itself, but pre-market, I've started to kind of sit down and analyze the stocks a little bit longer. I want to get my mind wrapped around the way it's trading and also the story behind it, why it's up. You know, what's the float? What's all this? What's the news? Is it the hottest, you know, lead gapper? So I am more. So when I see a breakout and I know this is a hot stock, I'm more inclined to get behind the stock. So just, you know, making sure you have enough conviction and not just like all over the place. Let's see. New rule number 2: always post 10:30 trading breakouts. Oh yeah, so I actually had a new rule video come out last month, I think it was. So buy pullbacks leading up to, okay, this has to do with if the breakout is under VWAP. Here, let me actually pull this out. Buying breakout pullbacks above VWAP, buying dips where we're dealing breakouts, more aggression, actual breakouts, focus on certain pullback. So one of these. We'll talk about this in a second here. Let's see. Let's focus on some of these examples. What's this one about? Here's a nice little trade. Red to green move. So this is the first one. Let's pull it up here. So here we have a red to green move dip. I entered it at 306, which is right around here. Pretty okay little setup. 306 would be really nice little dip buy, and then it looks like I closed this position here and then right here. So what was I doing on this one? Red to green move, solid exit and entry again. Exit again was too soon. What's going on lately? Falling through, lack of follow through in my trades. So what was I saying here? Focus on the strength of a pullback, sell volume. The higher it is, the more you should be careful, and failed continuation. Yeah, so this one, oops, let me go back to this picture here, and then let me scroll down a little bit here. You can see here we had 2 big red candles, decent volume, but then the green volume really came up in here. So when the green volume is very light, I need to be a little bit more cautious here. But when the green volume is like this high right out of the gates for the red to green move, I obviously wanted to let it run a little bit more. And that's something, you know, I've been a lot more attentive on volume this month, and it's already It's already improved my trading quite a bit. A lot of these things are pretty straightforward, and sometimes when I write them down, I'm like, oh man, I like this is this is stuff that I talk about all the time. So let's see here. Buying dips when below VWAP breakouts, be a bit more aggressive on the actual breakout. So this is what I'm talking about on this what's it called? This new rule. Yeah. So what? Let me quickly see. Is this the first trade or the second trade? Chopped out, said I'm a bit unfortunate. So yeah, this one, I remember this one. This was pretty miserable. This is me getting chopped out right here, right like just a little bit too early. We had we were below VWAP, not a lot of volume, and I try to buy this breakout here. So this is when, I need to actually be a little bit less aggressive because I either want to be buying the pullbacks, like I say here, buy pullbacks leading up to a breakout. That way, I'll be buying, into these pullbacks a little bit more, and that will help me have a tighter, or I can still have a tight stop, but I'm already buying the pullback. I'm not going to get stopped out on just a flash crash, just like this one. Even though this isn't a flash crash, this is just a quick pullback, which could be healthy. But it's going to chop me out if I'm buying this breakout because we're still below VWAP. We're later in the day. I need to be more cautious here. If I'm buying these breakouts here, this is the first 15 minutes in this area, then I could be more aggressive because look how quick this breakout happens. These I would say after 9:45, things tend to be a little bit slower. So that's just a classic example. Or I say here, I'm finally getting my bearings straight on this one. This was a little confusing. Or be a bit more aggressive on the actual breakout. So I'm not a big fan of this one, but if we actually do have the breakout of VWAP, then get a little bit more aggressive. Then place that order at 3.6, start taking profits here above 3.7, lock in 10% a share, and be pretty happy with this one. So that's kind of how this one went, and I think that's pretty straightforward for you guys. Let's see what this one, breakout descending triangle. Yeah, this is another example that really unfortunate. Everything I was doing on this one was right. So descending channel, we start breaking out here. I buy on the breakout, and then I get chopped out here on this pullback. And I'm like, oh man, this was perfect. So this is me being like too sporadic, not being calm enough. It's it's later in the day. It's right here at like 10:30. I need to be more calm on these areas. I need to let these things play out. And buying the dips, especially to the 9-minute EMA, even though I think this is a 15-minute EMA, is much better for me later in the day. I typically end up getting chopped out if I don't do that. So just keep that in mind. Here was a nice little dip buy. This was actually not too bad. This was a nice little quick one. So that's kind of, that's kind of a big thing I've been noticing is just me kind of getting chopped out on some of these pretty decent setups. And that's what I've been doing much better in June, actually. Just this month, just kind of like letting these trades go out. Let me quickly see what these two are about. And remember, you guys are going to be able to go through all these on your own time. By the end of this month, that should be ready. So breakout, pullback. Let's quickly check out what we got going on over here. So here's where I actually do it right. Instead of buying the breakout and probably knowing I'm going to get faked out, I could either buy this pullback here. And let me quickly see. This is, again, the 15-minute EMA, so this one's a little bit looser. I could have bought this pullback here, which I did, or I could have maybe bought this pullback here. But, me buying breakouts, I tend to get faked out on. So just looking for those pullbacks, I tend to do a little bit better on. And then here's a classic example of, so we're officially on the backside of this move, right? And here's a good example where I have a nice dip buy, I'm actually green, and then I end up getting out for a small loss. And this is the classic example of me trying to maximize my 1, 2, 3 trades I have per day. So I'm like, okay, I just want this to go a little bit higher, then I'm gonna close it. But in reality, I'm up 2-3% already. I need to just get out of this trade and move along. So that's something I cannot wait for once I have the unlimited account, because then either I have to avoid these trades on the challenge account, which I probably will do. Yeah, it's just, I love these trades. These are like my bread and butter, but the fact that I'm limited on trades, I always stumble over myself because I don't take profits quick enough. Let's see what that next trade is. What do I say here? Breakout, bull flag, and then pull back. So here we have a bit of a flag pattern, probably not the cleanest pattern, but we got the 15-minute EMA coming in. And then we have this is perfect. See, now I'm buying the pullbacks. I'm not getting faked out here. I'm buying the dips. This could pull lower, but I got my stop somewhere usually below one of these candles. It'll be my stop. Probably would have been around here, a little bit around 9. I don't know, probably 950 or something was my stop. Anyway, I don't totally remember, but typically those key areas like 950, 940, I'll start, stopping out of my trade. I buy this pullback. We have a nice breakout here. We have 1 minute pullback, and then, this is pretty sweet. Here we try to break out, doesn't break out. Here we try to break out again. It's weak. What I say, break out or bail out. And when it was weak, I just bailed out of this one, luckily, because it sold off. So this was a pretty sweet trade. Unfortunately, these are such small profits because I'm trading, this was a $770 position size, 7% winner, so we only made $60. So it's just, the challenge account is like these big winners, percentage-wise, these pretty decent winners don't yield that much profit. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me grow the account a little bit more because maybe I have a leftover trade, and then I trip over myself. So it's just like, it's this thing of how can I, grow this account right. That has really been the hardest part. The actual trading part is pretty straightforward. It's pretty obvious, especially when you do this, even if like my brother, he's fairly new to the game and he's doing pretty well now. He's like, 4 months into it, and like everything's starting to make sense to him. He could definitely increase his studying a little bit on the charts, some of the basics, but now he's really getting into it now, and it's really good. So it's, it doesn't take that long. I would say, give yourself like maybe up to 6 months. And I guarantee you, if you just are very focused on a specific strategy, you will become consistently profitable. It's that second part of tripping over yourself if you're doing the challenge account, because then you're limited on trades, and then you're like, let me wait for that perfect setup. It never happens, or it does happen, you miss it, and then you take a worse trade. That's the hardest part I've realized on this challenge. And I feel like I'm getting better at it. I'm definitely getting more aware of my mistakes on it, which is really, really nice, because that's the first kind of part to getting better. So Heiko, I noticed, also did a huge improvement when he put more money into his account, and then he was over the $25,000 rule. And then now he's able to, take profits very quickly, and he doesn't stress out too much. He's still trading. He did get more aggressive position size, but you don't have to. You could put $2,600 or $26,000 into the account and then only trade that $1,000, right? That's a good idea. But then you're not limited on those weird rules, which is definitely the hardest part. I would probably argue against doing $25,000 for your first month or first maybe 3 months, because if you're totally new and you have no idea what you're doing, there's a big chance you're going to make some ridiculous mistake that, looking back 6 months from then, you're going to laugh at. You're going to be like, that was a horrible, ridiculous mistake. I would never do that anymore. So, really limit yourself on how much you can lose just by not putting more than maybe like, I don't know, $2,000, $3,000 into your trading account out of the gates, because that will keep you from, blowing your account and then also like really blowing some big money. You don't want to do that. But I think once you can prove to yourself that you are getting consistent after 3 to 6 months, then you might as well just, quote unquote, stop the challenge and just go with $25,000. I actually think that's probably a good idea. I'm going to keep doing the challenge on the side, and then I probably next week or the week after will probably fund a margin account with $25,000. That way I don't have to stress myself on, being online, streaming, trading, but then, not being able to trade. I think that has always kind of been at the back of my head. Like, if I use all my trades, which I actually want to do in like the first 15 minutes, then I can't trade anymore, and I'm going to be streaming for the next 2 hours. So it's like those thoughts have been the hardest part of the challenge for sure. So interesting stuff here. I hope you guys found value in this. I hope that, some of these patterns that you can maybe notice for yourself, that you are also making these mistakes, or maybe you're not making these mistakes, or maybe that, I don't know, hopefully you guys can apply it to your own trading strategy. I know that constantly reflecting on my trading is just a huge boost in my own trading ability, right? Because I just become so much more aware of my own mistakes. And that's very, very important. So that's the whole reason I use a trade journal. So guys, again, if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We go live every morning at 9:15 to review the watch list and then trade the market, open every day. Yeah, guys, I would love to see you again. So definitely consider subscribing. Hit that like button. Stay healthy, stay safe, and make some awesome trades, guys. Till next time, ciao, ciao.